Welcome to the Richard Lloyd USA YouTube channel. I'm Richard Lloyd. Today I'm going to be doing a DD-WRT video and in particular we're going to be flashing it on the MR7350. Now this is going to be, well, I'm putting it on an MR7310, but the 7350 and the 7310 are the same router, as well as the MR7320 and the MR7340. So if you're looking for one of these routers, any one of those four routers will do. And I'll put a link up here to a video that shows you exactly proving that all four routers are the same. And excellent, beautiful routers, Wi-Fi 6 and compatible with DD-WRT and OpenWRT. But today we're putting DD-WRT on it. So, and it'll be a complete install, top to bottom. In the end, you'll have a working router with Wi-Fi running and a limited guest network on both the 2.4 gig band and the 5 gigahertz band. And I will expand on all of this in a future video where I'll show you how to completely lock down the guest Wi-Fi networks and create its own network, and also how to make a guest Wi-Fi network on the LAN ports, which is really cool. This is just straight up from stock to a perfectly functioning, useful router you can just plug in and go with. And you will have guest Wi-Fi access on both of the Wi-Fi channels. So, and somewhat limited, but not 100%. And I'll show you that as we go along. First thing we need to go do is go get the firmware from DDWRT, and there's a little quirk in that. If you went to DDWRT.com, usually you go to the router database, you type in your router, and off you go, right? So MR73 and nothing. And you go, oh no, right? No DDWRT for this router. Not true. If you go to, let's go to Google and do a search for DD-WRT space FTP, enter. You'll get this link right here, index to DD-WRT download betas. Click on that. Go down to the, you can go to the latest. I just go to 2026. And then down to the highest number, which is the R65140. Click on that. And in this screen, just hit on your keyboard, Control F to find. Now I'm using a private window on Firefox, but Control F should give you the find window in whatever browser you're running. And just type MR73. And you'll see it right there, Linksys MR7350. Again, I'm putting this on an MR7310. It doesn't matter. It's the same router, same firmware. So click on that and go to, well, choose, we're going to download both of those files. So I'll just go with the factory DDWRT first. And you can see I've been here before, but I'm just going to put it in downloads. Actually, I'm just going to call it MR7310. Let's see where it goes. MR7310. You call it what you wish, but it's, you know, I'm putting in my downloads directory in its own little directory. And save that file. Save the next file and put it in there. So we got the files downloaded at this point. Next place we're going to go is to 192.168.1.1, which is the actual router's IP address. And make sure that you do this through LAN, not through Wi-Fi. So you want to put an Ethernet cable to one of the LAN ports back here, and take that Ethernet cable and patch it directly into your computer. And make sure your computer is not connected to anything else. You don't want to be flashing the wrong thing. It's like, that's not good. If you don't have an Ethernet cable, then, you know, get yourself one of these. These are Ethernet adapters that are USB 3 and also 1 gigabit adapters. This one also has a combination USB 3 and C. So if you don't have a USB 3, just have a C, you can use that. And these are $10 a piece. And I'll put links for them in the video description below. You know, again, use those to help me out. And it doesn't cost any more than going straight to Amazon to get them. As well, you get the exact same hardware that I show in the video, and I know it works. So really good deal and very handy. You'd be amazed how much I use them. I before I had them, I didn't know how handy they were, and they're very handy because they plug into anything and they work. They even plug into my phone and they work. Ethernet on your phone. Isn't that wild? So we're going to go to 192.168.1.1 now, which is the page for the router, and I'm going to disconnect from Wi-Fi just like I told you, we're not doing this through Wi-Fi, we're doing this through Ethernet. Now 1.1, and then you'll get this page. Once you go there, I'll just hit enter, and it's not really apparent where the where the router is, but just click on the phone. There is a bit of a trick to this, and if you know your password, then put your password in. Otherwise, if it's on default, you've reset the router, which I recommend you do by pressing down the reset button on the back of the router for 20 seconds while after it's powered on and booted up. It'll reset to this, and the default password is just admin, all lowercase. Log into it. Now we need to install the DD-WRT firmware into this router. And as you can see, I'm not even connected to the internet. I've just connected to this device to the router. That's it. And that's the way I recommend you do it as well. So here we go to connectivity, which is regularly where the actual link to upload your file for your upgrade to your firmware is, but not here. It's hidden. Go down here. You'll see a CA at the bottom. I don't know why they did this, but if you click on that link, it will, I don't know why they hit it, but they hit it. It will reveal the file upgrade for the firmware right there, right? So choose that file. Go to where you put your firmware. Mine is an MR73. And choose the factory to DD-WRT image. That is the first one. This is a two-step process. Hit open. And then just hit start. Say yes to the question. Update the firmware, yes. And just let it go. Now, if you're concerned about reverting this router back to the stock firmware because you didn't like DD-WRT or OpenWRT in that case, I have videos for both of those versions, and I will put links for them up top. You'll see the cards going by as this video goes through. And those videos will show you how to take this back to this stock firmware if you didn't like it, right? Or for whatever reason, right? Maybe you want to switch from DD-WRT to OpenWRT. Well, I have a video showing you how to do the reversal to the stock firmware for DD-WRT. Okay, saying rebooting, and I can see the blue light flashing. Now it's green. I'd grab the router, but I'm afraid of ripping the cables out at this point. Now, no matter what, it's not going back to this web page because it's not going to be available anymore because we've gone to a new firmware. So just type in 192.168.1.1 at the top. And once it's ready, it'll allow you back into it. There we go. Nope, it's green right now. So 192.168.1.1 after a little wait. Put in your credentials here. You have to put in new ones. So I'm just going to use, let's use admin. And whatever password you choose to use, make sure it's a strong one. There we go. So here we are logged in, and remember we downloaded 2 files to do this, right? So we need to go get to install the second file. The first file fools the Linksys firmware into thinking that it's actually loading a version of its Linksys firmware instead of DD-WRT, but that is an incomplete firmware file for the whole DD-WRT project. So here we got to go to administration, and we're going to install this again. So, well, not again. We're going to install the final file, which is done here under administration and firmware upgrade. All right. And here we're just going to click on browse, go to DD-WRT Webflash bin right here, click open, and click upgrade. I'll pick this up after it reboots. Now we're onto this page. Now, first thing I always do with these routers with DD-WRT is go here to the administration page, and it will ask you to log in again. So we'll do that because we changed the password in actuality. There we go. Log in, and here, see this info site password protection? Click on that and save and apply. And what that will do is it will stop people when they go to 192.168.1.1 from seeing anything except the login prompt. And that's it. No information about the router at all. It's kind of a little security thing. So just do that. Now, this version of DD-WRT on this router is weird in a way because see this WAN connection type right here? By default, it's disabled. And I don't know why they did that. Because generally, when you do DD-WRT, it goes into the automatic DHCP setting, and basically, if you've got the internet plugged into the router, you're off to the races right at that point. You're actually on the internet at that point, but right now you're not. So we're going to go here to the connection type and change this to automatic configuration DHCP, right? Then come down here, say save, and save and apply. And now the next thing you're going to do is reboot the router. Now you can do it with the power button if you wish, but I'm just going to go over here to the administration, scroll down, well, it's right here, reboot the router. And I'm going to reboot the router, and then we'll come back in and continue doing the configuration. Since this is a very quick router, I booted back up fairly quickly. And at this point, you'll notice I've got no WAN IP address here because I don't have the internet plugged into it. So I'm going to do that right now. There we are. Waiting for that to happen. So next thing you need to do is this right here, shortcut forwarding engine. This speeds the router way up. It makes it much faster. So just click on this, go down to the very bottom, NSS-ESM-SF. There you go. Click, choose that. Keep going down here and change your date or time zone to wherever you are. I'm in Texas, so that's US Central. And then just hit save and apply. There you go. And you can see I have an IP address now. So we're back. We're on the internet at this point. Let's do a quick little test, see what kind of speed we're getting right now, if we're getting any at all. So let's go to my speed test. When you change those settings, it actually does do a little reboot on the router, but it's pretty quick. This is a very fast router. So here I'm on Spectrum. I'm just going to click go and see what kind of speeds we're getting right now. Click allow on that. And you can see, awesome. My internet connection is 1 gigabit down and 40 megabytes per second up. It's a cable connection, but you can see I'm getting like 924, 925. Sometimes it hits 930. You're not going to get any higher than that on a 1 gigabit connection, at least not mine anyway. And yeah, smoking fast router even at this point. And we're not even done configuring it yet. We got to do Wi-Fi and a few other things. We've got a good connection. We're rocking and rolling. We've got the time zone set up. Let's go over here to wireless. We're going to make this more or less finished product. At the end, we're going to have 2 Wi-Fi connections that are open to your network, normal Wi-Fi connections like that you would connect to on this as a stock router, and 2 Wi-Fi connections that will be guest networks that are somewhat limited, and I'll explain that as we go. So here we got the Wi-Fi connections, and again, you choose the settings that you wish. I'm going to choose what I call maximum settings for these. Let's start with the 2.4. Notice the 5 gigahertz is at the top and the 2.4 is at the bottom. Everything that I have is going to be on, that is IoT, is going to be on the 2.4 gigahertz range. Now yours may be different, but for now, let's just set it. And I'm going to set it to, I'm going to set it to mixed because that'll be the most compatible setting for you. And again, normally what I would do is choose N or AX only. But if I choose AX only, half my IoT devices won't connect because they're not AX devices, right? So you want to, for IoT, you just want to hit it on mixed. And you can go faster if you wish to 40 megahertz, but again, that creates compatibility issues. So let's just keep it simple. And I'm just going to call this DD-WRT and 2.4G. There we go. And I'm not really going to connect anything to this Wi-Fi connection because it has access to my network, to my router and my network. And, you know, that's why we create guest networks for IoT devices. So just set it like this and hit save and apply. Then we're going to do the 5 gigahertz. Now the 5 gigahertz, I don't put any IoT stuff on, so you can crank it right up to AX only or AX, AC, and N mixed, which is probably the most compatible setting right there. Change this to 80 megahertz. And I always leave the channel on auto. That seems to work. DD-WRT, and then 5G. Again, this is a inside Wi-Fi connection. In other words, anybody that connects to this has the same access to my router and my network as they would if they connected an Ethernet cable to it. So this is just for me and people who I trust being on these network nodes. Other than that, they're going to go into the guest network, which we're going to create here in a minute. So here, just hit save and apply on that setting. At this point, we go to wireless security, and you can see that WPA3, lovely, is there, the highest security rating or currently for WPA, for Wi-Fi, I mean. And there, you know, there's password phrases and whatever. On 2.4, you want to check the WPA2 as well here, because not every IoT device out there can do WPA3. And that makes it more compatible. Again, we're going for compatibility. Now, once you do that, you got to put a new password in here. Save and apply. And I'm also going to change this one up here because it has the default password from Linksys. As you can see, this is next to impossible to remember. So I'm going to put my own in here. I suggest you do the same. Unless you can remember that, then rock and roll. Now, I don't have WPA2 on for the 5 gigahertz, but if you want it to be more compatible, turn that on, right? But all my 5 gigahertz devices that I'm going to be connected to this router are compatible with WPA3. So save and apply. Actually, I'm going to turn on WPA2. Reason being is that these settings are also the same settings that apply to the guest network. So, and there's nothing really wrong with WPA2. It's secure as long as you put in a decent password. Save and apply. Let's go back to basic settings. Now we're going to create the guest network. So here you see these buttons for advanced or add virtual app. So click on add virtual app. So access point. Here I'm just going to call it just G-Wi-Fi 24. So that's the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. I'm going to save and apply on that one. And then up here, I'm going to do one for 5 gigahertz. Like I said, these are all guest access. So G Wi-Fi 5.0. There we go. And save and apply. Now, as I said, these are basic guest settings or guest networks, Wi-Fi networks. And so we're going to just go to advanced so that you can see what I mean. Go to the advanced settings button here. Scroll down and choose this setting, app isolation. And we're doing this on both of the actual guest networks or guest Wi-Fi connections. So here, just click enable on that one, save and apply. And then up here, go to the 5 gigahertz one and do the same thing, app isolation, enable, save and apply. Now, what app isolation does is everything that connects to these Wi-Fi connections, the guest Wi-Fi connections, will be limited or basically in its own little jail, meaning that it can't see anything else on this network. So in other words, if your IoT device gets compromised, it can't see your other IoT device. It can't see anything on the network, but it can still see your router. Right? This is kind of like, this is the thing with DD-WRT. And it's not, like I said, not a big deal. It can still see your router. And in a future video, I'm going to show you how to isolate these guest Wi-Fis on their own network that can't see the router and can't see each other either. So they'll be completely jailed in their own little network or or sandbox outside of everything else, and they'll still work perfectly fine. You'll still have access to them on your phone or whatever device you're looking at them at, and they'll, but they will be completely locked out of your network, which is what they should be. Right now, on these settings, they're not quite completely locked out because they'll still be on the same network as your router, so they'll be able to see your router, but they won't see each other or anything else on the network. Okay, so that's a very, very cool thing. Now, wild thing here is we still got to do wireless security for both those connections. You'll see them here. See the virtual interface here? Right here, it doesn't have any password right now, and neither does the 2.4, right? So let's just do the Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 50 here. Choose WPA. Scroll down. It does that. It moves when you do it. We're going to choose WPA 3. And again, keep scrolling back down. WPA 2. Again. And choose the CCMP 128 AES. You didn't have to do that with the other ones because it was automatically there. So here on the 5 gigahertz guest Wi-Fi, we're going to put in whatever password you want. There we go. And save and apply. And you do these one at a time. Right here, the guest Wi-Fi 50, which is the 5 gigahertz. And down here, completely disabled, WPA. Choose that on the guest Wi-Fi 2.4, as you can see here. And again, WPA 2 and WPA, scroll back down, WPA 3. And every time you do it, you got to scroll back. I don't know why that happens. Anyway, so there's the 3 check marks you got to put on the guest Wi-Fi. Put in whatever password you want. And now your Wi-Fi is set up. Next thing, this is optional, but I would do it if I were you. Go to Services, scroll down to SSH here, Secure Shell, and enable it. Save and apply. Now what that allows you to do is to actually log on to the router using SSH, which is a command line, almost like I would say DOS or into the router, where you can actually look at the router on command line, and I'll show you that right here, show you how to do that now that we've done it. So type in CMD, there we go, and run as administrator. You don't have to, but I always do. I just like the way it looks better on that setting. It's weird that the two would be different, but they are. So here, SSH and root. Yes, I know we said admin to the password, but root is how you do this at 192.168.1.1. Click enter, and again, you have to. This is kind of weird when you do this for the first time, but type in yes, the whole word YES, enter, and put in the password for your router that we just put in. There we go. Now we're in DD-WRT, and you can tell, that we're in there. Also, the neat thing here, even though it is an MR7310, you can see that Linksys, the DD-WRT sees it as what it actually is, an MR7350. So that's why you want to do SSH, and there's more reasons for it. But again, make sure you do that. You may never use it, but you may want to sometime, and it'll be ready to go when you do it, and there'll be no problem doing that anyway. So let's go over here to administration, show you a couple more tweaking things. Look down here. You can see the temperature and all that, but here it says overclocking, right? It actually isn't really overclocking. This router is actually made to run at 1800. So right now it's idling here at 1512. You can take this and take it all the way to 1800, and it's, as far as I'm concerned, safe. Again, this is on you. Like, you can leave it on the default. It's very fast at 1500 anyway. And when it ships to you from Linksys with the stock firmware, it's running at 1200. So, I mean, an amazing difference in speed. If you take it to 1800, it's basically a 50% increase in CPU speed. And that is the speed that that CPU is made to run. So as far as I'm concerned, you're not really overclocking it. You're just clocking it to what it should be at. Now, there's a fixed frequency here. If you click that, it basically pins it at 1800. I don't recommend that. There's no need for that. Why run it hot when it doesn't need to? This will cite, even if you choose 1800 megahertz, it won't go, it'll only go to 1800 megahertz with this setting if it needs to. Other than that, it's just going to idle, right? So here we're going to hit save and apply so I can show you that. Again, this is optional, just showing you it. Here we go to the status page. And you can see right here on the status page, even though I set it to 1500, it's currently running at 1000 megahertz. Why? Because that's all it needs to run at. It's more than fast enough right now, right? The last thing you want to do for sure, so you never have to do this again, is to save a backup of your configuration so that anytime that you wipe out the router or change the configuration, if you want to bring it back to current state, this is how you do it. Go to the administration tab, then go to backup, and then here we're going to hit the backup button here, and it'll automatically pop up a window giving you a configuration file and you know, a backup for it. And yeah, you can, you know, keep the stock here, but I'm just going to say, you know, make sure you name it something that makes sense so that you know what it is. I mean, otherwise they're all more or less the same. So let's say default, and I'm going to call it number 1. Config, configuration, and MR7310. There we go. Right now, you know, save it, and this also tells you the revision number, so you know which one what revision it's for. So regardless, again, do the backup. That way, you never have to do those 47 steps that it takes to make it be this way. If you ever wipe it out, if you ever want to reflash it or reset it and bring it back, then you just, well, I'm going to click the save on this here. Save it to the same directory, MR7310 there, save it. And if you ever want to bring it back, you just click here to browse. Grab that file, say open, and restore. And now all the settings that we just put in will be restored to the router. So, and you know, this is about experimenting as well. So if you're experimenting with the Wi-Fi settings and make them faster, slower, more compatible, or less compatible, and something doesn't go right or you don't remember what you did, restore the file, you're back to square one. So back to the speed test here. I'm going to change this to Fort Worth. That's my favorite. There we go. Always gives me the best results. So I'm going to hit go. Allow again. And as you can see, excellent results. If we go back to the status page, you can see the CPU clock. It's currently 864, right? So, I mean, it cycles. It basically says, well, this is all the speed I need, so I'll run at 864, saves energy, keeps it running cool, which is a good thing, right? So, again, it is still set, as if we go here to administration, at 1800 megahertz. But it doesn't need it. So it's self-regulating. It's really cool. Now you can click the fixed frequency, but even with fixed frequency, it still does cycle up and down. So, I mean, up to you. But, you know, again, as I've checked the Qualcomm website for this processor that's in here, the APQ, I believe, or CPQ, whatever, it is rated to run at 1800 megahertz. And let's see. MR7350 probably tells me See the IPQ 6018 right here, right? That's rated to run at 1800. Right now running at 864, but it doesn't matter. Look at the speed test, right? Let's go again. There we go. Allow again. And excellent web speeds. Again, it varies from time to time. It'll go to 900 and sometimes it'll go to 930. It doesn't matter, right? There at 913, you saw that. Anyway, so that's all set. I just wanted to show you that. The Wi-Fi connection, we can go connect to it and do some testing there. So turn on Wi-Fi. And DD-WRT 2.4, I guess we could test that. But the one that matters is 5 gigahertz really. Connect. Put in your password for it. There we go. Next. And I'm going to disconnect from the Ethernet. So we're only testing Ethernet, so disable. There we go. And let's do that test again. Again, I don't have the Wi-Fi completely, tweaked up for my specifications. I got it tweaked up for your specifications. And as you can see here, very fast, very cool, right? Look at that. On Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi 6. I mean, 826 megabytes per second. Almost as fast as my Ethernet. Just an excellent, excellent little router here. I'm glad I found it, more or less by mistake, but yeah, and it runs the DD-WRT and OpenWRT. Both are open source, secure firmwares. The stock firmware on this series of routers from Linksys hasn't been updated since 2021, which makes it, 5 years old at this point. Probably not a good secure thing at this point. And it runs at 1200 megahertz, not 18 like we have it running right now. So there's that. Let's do the 2.4. Just for example's sake. So put the password in here. There we go. Connected and secure. Let's see what it says about the information. Now remember, when you upgrade to Wi-Fi 6, you upgrade 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. Wi-Fi 5 only upgraded the 5 gigahertz band, not the 2.4. So this is kind of really cool. So here, look, Wi-Fi 6, 802.11ax on that. And so pretty fast speed, 287, again, it's 2.4 gigahertz. Let's see what we get. Hit allow again. Excellent, right? Again, it's 2.4 gigahertz. How fast do you want to go? This is pretty fast. So, excellent little router. That's it for my basic installation of DD-WRT and what I would call the minimal setup for this router that you should have for your devices, including the somewhat jailed guest Wi-Fi setting. In my next video, I will show you how to completely take the guest Wi-Fi off your network onto its own network and jail all those devices so that they can't see anything on your network. Right now they can see your router, but still that's a lot tighter than being able to see anything on your network. And I will also show you probably on that video how to create a LAN port on this router that is another network that is could be a guest network if you wish, or a separate network, which is really cool. I will show you that on the next video. But in this video, we're done. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you like this video and it helped you out in some way, give me a thumbs up, give me a like at the bottom of this video. I really appreciate that. In the video description, I'll put chapters and links to the hardware, like these USB dongles that I have here. Please use those as their affiliate links, and they help me out. And they don't cost you any more than going straight to Amazon to buy these things anyway. So you're helping me out and it doesn't cost you anything. Also, comments section below, put your comments, suggestions, questions, whatever you want to say to me, constructive criticism. I love that too. I got some on the last video and it was very helpful. And on top of that, like I said, I look at those daily and respond to them daily as well. I'll be doing that today as well after I release this video. If you like my content and you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. As part of that process, click the bell icon, and then you'll be notified every time that I put up a new video, and you can watch it at your own leisure. Once again, and like always, take care of yourself, take care of others, stay healthy, stay happy, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next video.